Come Play, out in cinemas now, new horror film based on a short film from 2017. This stars Gillian Jacobs, known mostly as Britta from Community, who was actually the primary reason why I saw the film. The story centers on an autistic boy and his parents, who are in this volatile, not at all working relationship. The boy named Oliver is about 10 years old, and in his case, the autism manifests itself by his inability to talk. He can understand what other people say, he seems like a relatively smart boy, in fact, but in order to communicate with the outside world, he needs to use a telephone app that he clicks on to say the words out loud. That also means he's having trouble making friends at school and is a bit of an outcast, spending his time mostly with the screens, watching SpongeBob and so forth. At the beginning of the film, a new app, a sort of interactive book called The Misunderstood Monster, appears on his phone. It describes Larry, this weird, spooky looking monster that apparently lives on the other side of the screen and is looking for a friend. The more the book is read, the more Larry manifests himself in the physical world, haunting Oliver and his family. And the story goes on from there. Now, as much as I wanted to enjoy the film, I really couldn't. The main problem for me was that the trailer that I saw previously revealed way too much. As it turns out, it shows almost all of the key scenes. And as a result, the movie left almost no surprises for me, and I was just yawning all the way through. However, even if you haven't seen the trailer, I think Come Play won't be that engaging. The characters aren't written very well, which means it's difficult to connect with them on an emotional level, and by extension to care about what's actually going on. And on a purely technical level, it's very by the book. It uses all the familiar horror tools and tricks. It's very derivative of other movies. You can predict the jump scares. You can predict the way the story will go. It's simply unsurprising and unadventurous, and so as a result also not particularly scary. There's also another problem, and it has to do with the fact that the movie seems to contradict itself in terms of its messaging. See, the protagonist is a boy who needs screens to somehow interact with other people to lead a somewhat normal life, and yet at one point it turns out that the monster is born out of people's loneliness, and the movie says it outright, it spells it out, that screens are bad and people should talk more to each other directly. What? I mean, it's not a bad message per se in itself, but you do remember who's the hero of the story, right? These two things just don't click together, and that explanation scene is immediately followed by this sequence where two grown-up people take turns destroying a tablet with hammers, which is filmed so weirdly, and it takes so long, and they're so ineffective, and it's one person and then the other one and then the first person. I just started laughing right there. It was hysterically stupid. And by the way, that's not the only way the movie contradicts itself. It also establishes certain rules regarding the monster, and then towards the end of the film it just breaks those rules without any explanation. Really? So yeah, not particularly original, not particularly scary, not good at all in any sense. My recommendation is just to skip the film altogether.